YouTube.
Hey,
thank you.
hello.
Whoever did that, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Longbox Crusade's 59th Doing It live stream, which tells me, Pat,
Yes.
the next episode would be episode 60.
Oh.
And we do one a month, so we've been doing this for 5 years.
What?
Doing it live for 5 years.
Man, I thought those crow's feet in my eyes. I was imagining those, but
Woo!
Ooh, wow. Yeah. Have we?
I'm impressed with the math there.
Yeah, I was like clickety, clickety, click, like an abacus in my head.
Wow.
So yeah, that's what's up. Hey everybody, welcome to our live stream. As you can see, I am not in my usual spot. I am broadcasting from a secret location in Georgia. I'm on the road, but I still want to come and see you guys. I want to welcome Auburn Elvis. I see there's at least 7 other people watching right now, and we welcome you into the chat. I don't have anything with me to give away because I'm not home.
there's a castle behind you. Just grab that.
Yeah.
And throw it in the
Just
box.
give my friend's Disney Castle away by Lego.
I mean, it's got a Robin Hood like theme to it, you know.
But we'll still do drawing for giveaways, and when I get home, I'll find something cool to mail you. So we'll do that. Hey, Kathy. Kathy's in the chat. But you guys are in for a live recording of Saturday Matinee Theater, episode 82. We're going to talk about Robin Hood, the 1955 TV series, and I believe we're on episode. We'll talk about this, but we're on episode 7-ish.
Yeah. 7.
Alan,
Whoa.
I see you
Yeah.
smiling, and I hear your pen clicking already. That's warning 1. Unless that was Jason. Okay, it was Alan. It was Alan.
Not guilty.
Ooh,
Not
elegant.
Oh,
Got me.
all right.
You got me.
I got it right off the bat. 2 minutes into the show. Auburn Elvis is watching our live stream while he's at an Auburn University women's basketball game, and I want to commit.
Dedication.
I want to commit him.
Having
Congratulate
committed.
him for his commitment,
Commitment.
to the commitment to us and to the commitment to Auburn University.
Either that's a really boring basketball game.
Whew.
How dare you, Alan? How dare you? How very dare you?
Auburn could still be winning and it'd still be boring. I mean,
That
That's the kind of
What?
game I like. When we're winning so bad, it's boring. All
That
right.
ice in that glass? Did I see ice in that glass?
Yeah, I see ice in that glass.
Mhm.
You didn't see any in this one because I, unlike Jared, am a professional.
Well, you guys teach me all about the professionalism. Do we have anything else for the general audience before we get into the show? Anybody else? I did
Yes,
the intro.
make sure to like and subscribe on
Thank
YouTube.
you.
Also, leave comments so I can write your names down because surely we will be doing some giveaway at some point.
Yeah, like we'll draw for it today, but all the prizes are at my house in Alabama. So when I get home, I'll find something cool to mail you guys. So you'll get something. You just won't know what it is on this episode.
Don't know what it is.
You can have a cat. I've got extra cats if they want a cat.
Yeah, please don't send out cat. Whatever it takes.
Grandkids?
Right now,
You guys hear this?
extra grandkid? Anybody want a grandkid?
Can you
I don't
hear
even
me?
have kids, much less grandkids.
Oh, I hear some string.
a little strumming.
Okay, I didn't know. I don't know if I should do this, or if I
Ukulele.
should do the.
What
All
are
right.
you doing?
All right.
What is that?
It's a guitar. You can't have a guitar.
He got his regular guitar. We're like,
What?
What?
Why?
Did they have regular guitars back then? No, they had lutes.
It was a guitar. He
Luke's
called
back.
it a guitar. In the
You
No, it's a
stop it.
guitar. It's a guitar.
Yeah, guitar.
It's a guitar,
Guitar.
which is a different
He was getting her
thing.
done.
So, yeah.
All right, give me a strum.
That's better.
the one we
There
want.
we go.
That's the one.
All right, now that the cockles of my heart are warmed, let's jump in the show. Unless anybody's got anything else,
No,
we're good.
You got
All
warm
right, team.
cockles. What else is needed?
Let's
Right about
roll.
that.
Let's roll.
All right, and we will begin the live recording in 3 and 2 and hang on. Okay, we're good. No, we're not. Okay. Hello and welcome to episode 82 of Saturday Matinee Theater. Break in right there to remind you guys. I think this is the series that has the most episodes of anything that we've done on this network. We're recording episode 82. That's awesome. Anyway, it is brought to you by your friends at the Longbox Crusade, and we're here in jolly old England in our recording studio set up deep inside Sherwood Forest. I am your host, Jared Albrecht, the yard sale artist, and joining me as always is the little John to my Robin Hood. It is Pat Sampson, aka DJ Cristados. And how are we feeling today, DJ Cristados?
Hey, Jared, I am feeling good. I've been working out, been getting this. I found a tunnel, so I'm sealing it up so Clinton doesn't get out.
Good.
This time around. So
yes.
Sealing up that tunnel that I found. I might stash a few more stuff in there, but hopefully it'll all be ready. And so when it's time for Christmas to come around again and decorations have begun, you guys won't be able to leave me alone and do it by myself anymore. I'll make sure I have all the places covered for escape.
Yeah, that's bank on that. Bank on that.
Mm-hmm.
And while we have Pat's hopes up so very high, let's see who else is joining me. It is the ugliest maid Marian of all time. It is my older, wiser brother, Jason the Weasel Skull Albrecht. Welcome back to the show, Jason.
Thank you, Jared. I didn't realize that it cost 5 gold angels to be on this show. Can I borrow 5 gold angels, please?
but if you win,
I'm good for it. I'm good for it. I'll make it up to you.
All right. Somebody give Jason 5 gold angels.
Thank you. Thanks. Delvin, here's 5 gold angels I owe you to be on the show.
It's weird how no one's really coming out ahead on this.
I don't understand how we don't make money on this thing.
I just got some pipes left, 5 pipes left. So I don't want to.
Can we trade them? How many gold angels are those pipes worth, do you think?
What's the exchange rate?
5.
Angels to
5, 1 to 1.
5, 1 to 1, yeah.
Exchange rate. All right. I think we got this covered. I think we can all do this show.
Good. I'm so glad. And who is all of us, you might ask? All of us includes our own lovable friar. It is Delvin the Dark Web Williams. How are you, Friar Williams?
I'm good, and I'm happy to help Jason as well. And like for all of us, I saw Pat while he was testing out the tunnel and he was talking with the sheriff, but he came back through the front way. So all we have to do is sneak out, and then he closes it, and then we're on the outside. So
no Christmas decorating for us.
What?
Huh? Nothing.
Oh, sorry. I was just getting the pipes ready for the exchange before.
Keep doing that. Keep doing that. And we do have a guest. I'm hesitant to call him a guest at this point because he sure does show up on a lot of our shows. We love having him. It is our friend. It is Mr. Alan J. Porter. Welcome back to the show, Alan.
Thank you, Jared. I actually really just wanted to dial into this one to make sure that this episode was something that would give my youngsters a lot of pleasure. And I wanted to make sure that you actually had a Parent Magazine seal of approval before I could actually partake.
I understand. Just add some sugar, Alan, and we're going to be fine.
If it'll just stop the kids whistling, that would be even better.
Well, we did have someone in the chat from Facebook ask the question, what are you doing for Martin Luther King Day? And I would say, I'll be driving home from my trip to Georgia. I've enjoyed spending a weekend with some friends here in Georgia. Anybody else got any big plans for the day off tomorrow?
Just writing my book.
We're working on books.
Yeah.
Delvin, you look like you're going to say something.
Nothing.
Well, no, that's a good day right there. I'm not going to lie.
Not a darn thing.
I'm sorry, I just saw Michael asked, are we cooking out for MLK Day? Do you know what the temperature is?
Yeah, I know, right? In my home in Alabama for Martin Luther King Day tomorrow, it's supposed to get down to 17.
Yeah, I think we're looking at 15 Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Oh, shut up, Pat.
It's already -3 or 7 around here. But
You're
and even
-7.
you know what? Yeah, and it's a Packer day today, so people are outside grilling.
You're a
burgers.
-4.
30 degrees in my hometown right now.
Oh, anyways, if that actually makes it into the cut of the show, which Delvin might cut it out, I don't know. But I should remind everybody that we are recording in front of a live audience as a Saturday matinee theater on a Sunday, which is weird because it's Saturday on a Sunday. But we're doing it on a Doing It live stream. So throughout the show today, we may have questions or comments that pop in from the chat that we will address on the episode. Alan, did you have anything exciting to update us with since you are the guest? Did you have any nifty, keen Robin Hood thoughts before we begin? Or are you just like, let's just start the show?
I think my nifty, keen Robin Hood thoughts we're going to talk about because you and I were texting about yesterday. So let's just roll the show.
Okay, yeah. Alan and I were texting yesterday because we'll have some fun in the fun facts today. I found out some stuff from our friend Bold Outlaw. I did some more digging on some stuff. Alan weighed in on some stuff. We'll get to it. Look forward to the fun facts, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Pat to tell everybody what this show is about, because this might be someone's first show. And if so, Delvin? I got it. Welcome.
Oh, I was like, was he?
Every time we mention the first show, we always say, well, come on, man.
Dude, I'm sorry. Homescapes.
Got us again. Over to you, Pat.
Well, Jared, I'm glad you asked. Saturday Matinee Theater is a retro review, sometimes index show brought to you by the Longbox Crusade, where we'll be taking you back to the past with some potentially overlooked retro awesomeness in the realm of television, movie serials, or films. Basically, if it's vintage and it's kind of forgotten, we're going to dig it up. On this episode, we are continuing our indexing of all 39 episodes of the 1955 television series, The Adventures of Robin Hood. 1955's Robin Hood was produced by Sapphire Films, run by Hannah Weinstein and Sidney Cole. It starred Richard Green as Robin Hood and Alan Wheatley as the Sheriff of Nottingham. So take refuge in the forest, take off your quiver of arrows, get cozy around the fireplace, and let the gregarious music of the merry men whisk you away into the past. But make sure to eat and drink to withstand the siege and also keep your spirits up.
That was nice. Okay, folks, before we hand it over to Delvin for this episode's info, let's take a look, or in this case, a listen to a commercial that would have been playing at the time this episode was released back in 1955. This will help us get in the right time frame of mind, if you will, and transport us back to the 50s. For this episode's commercial retro rewind, we have Kool-Aid.
I missed the Kool-Aid commercial. Also, I didn't even remember. I went to the calendar. I did not see this link to the commercial.
Well, let's just see here. Well, maybe I can play it for everybody. I don't know, with my limited bandwidth. Let's find out.
I just watched it. I forgot to do the commercial, so I watched it while you were talking.
Every time.
I looked at the calendar. I didn't see it.
Okay, well then, let's go into StreamYard, and
that explains it. I looked at doing it live stream and not the SMT.
Share screen. Let's share a window or a tab. Ooh, I can share a tab. That's cool. Let's see here.
I would prefer like a Shotska or a Shots or something like that instead of a tab. That's the soda joke.
I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the calendar just to
That's
prove it
the
exists.
calendar, and then click on today's event. Let's see here. Hang on. Oh, we got the audio.
And everybody can see. See how organized Jared is. The Leo, he has it all calendared out and everything.
Ooh, we got
Maybe,
the
you know
audio.
what? Maybe I
But I
should
want
put
people to see.
decorating the Christmas on the calendar.
Do I have it on the calendar? I want to see if I can bring in that way they can see it too.
You did.
All right, share the screen. You guys could hear that, right?
Hear what?
Hear what?
Okay, so could you or could you not hear it when I played it before? No, okay. We should be able to now because I switched it to the tab. Let's see if this works.
Yep.
It's got TV on.
Kool-Aid, Kool-Aid, a 5-cent package makes 2 quarts of Kool-Aid, Kool-Aid, 9 great flavors, the drink you love. Kool-Aid, Kool-Aid,
For the very best drink you ever made.
Kool-Aid, Kool-Aid,
Be sure that the envelope says
Kool-Aid.
You can give your youngsters a lot of pleasure with Kool-Aid. You know it's pure and good. It has the Parents Magazine seal. And it's so thrifty. A 5-cent package makes 2 full quarts. Just add Kool-Aid to water with ice. Add some sugar and stir.
For the very best drink you ever made.
Be sure that the envelope says
Kool-Aid.
Boom, there we have it. All right, now we've all seen it. Yeah. We've all heard it. All right.
What is the point of me trying to make a good intro with the commercial if nobody watches it?
I got
I
you.
watched
You
it.
can. The other two guys.
I normally watch it. I looked at the wrong thing.
3 cool guys watched it.
It was funny in retrospect. I got the joke after I watched the.
Well, then.
I mean, God, I even wrote it down in my notebook.
Hey, I appreciate your level of preparation, Alan. And when we start replacing people for a lack of preparation, you'll be the first to go. Speaking of Alan's thoughts, Alan, you get to go first. What are your thoughts on the Kool-Aid commercial of the 1950s?
I mean, apart from the fact it was incredibly irritating with that whistle, that's probably because I can't whistle. So anything that involves people whistling annoys me. Yeah, thank you.
It wasn't me this time. That's the weird part.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of those commercials that is irritating but would stick and you'd remember it and remember the product. I mean, I must admit, knowing it was a Kool-Aid, I was going in for some sort of, drink the Kool-Aid type tagline or something like that. So it sort of surprised me that this was obviously maybe early. I don't know when Kool-Aid came on the market, but I'm guessing this is fairly early on. It's sort of an intro to the product because they had to explain what it was and how you make it and stuff. So that sort of surprised me because I thought like Kool-Aid is something that everybody just knows about. So I sort of like that aspect that they actually did set it up.
So you're good with everything but the whistling.
Apart from the irritating kids. And that little girl at the end, I'm sure she got something in her eye there where she was trying to wink instead. But yeah, it's looked like she'd been poked in the eye or something. But
off camera, the producers will just boom.
Boom, yeah. Throwing things at her. Yeah.
All right, Jason, what do you got on the Kool-Aid?
Kool-Aid, man. Kool-Aid's been around for a long time. And here we're getting in on the ground floor of Kool-Aid. Now, whenever you launch a product that's aimed at kids, you gotta reach 2 groups of people. You gotta reach the kids. You gotta make the kids want to drink the Kool-Aid, no pun intended, but you enjoy the Kool-Aid. And who amongst us haven't, man? I grew up on Kool-Aid. 3 o'clock snack. Mom made some Kool-Aid. Didn't put much sugar in that Kool-Aid. She really skimped on that sugar. That's a whole nother topic for another day. But the Kool-Aid was good. I liked the blue. I liked the red. I liked all of it. If this commercial doesn't land, maybe Kool-Aid doesn't make it. Maybe my whole childhood is entirely different. Right? But they nailed it. They nailed it because they got the kids wanting to drink that Kool-Aid with the cute little Kool-Aid pitcher man going, "Oh, drink me, I'm Kool-Aid." And that's all exciting, and kids want to drink it. And it got mom because it got that seal of approval from some organization that I don't know, may not even have existed. But Kool-Aid said, it got the seal of approval from the moms of America. So moms were like, all
Why
right,
did
it's
Kool-Aid
good.
sound a little bit like Bill Cosby?
Well, that's coming. I think maybe Jello pudding pops will be down the road. That's a sad tale for another day. But for today, with a Kool-Aid commercial, it worked. It's nostalgic. It made me think of my childhood. I do prefer the big Kool-Aid that comes busting through the wall, the Kool-Aid man Kool-Aid. But this is good. This is a good start.
Sadly lacking, but I don't know. Maybe Delvin's got thoughts on that. Delvin, Kool-Aid.
So I did some quick searching. Kool-Aid was invented in 1927. Kool-Aid has been around almost 100 years. So
Ain't going nowhere
Wow.
either.
no, I don't think so. Like I sort of went off of the Kool-Aid track myself when like somebody just like made me realize that it was just nothing but sugar that you were drinking. You're pretty much drinking colored sugar. And I'm like, my body's a temple, so I can't have Kool-Aid. And by all means, boo me, because I deserve to be booed.
I'll drink your Kool-Aid.
Thank you both. I appreciate that. I'd had plenty of Kool-Aid growing up, and it was delicious. And as I taught Jared in college, you don't just there's no measurement for Kool-Aid. You just pour until you feel like stopping pouring. And if you drink it and you kind of get like a little bit of a headache, that's even better. Like, oh my God, I think that was too sweet. I'm going to need water to drink after the Kool-Aid that I had. So I'm going to be extra refreshed and amped up because I just got a lot of sugar water in me. So yeah, I haven't mentioned anything about the commercial yet. I realize this. It's not a bad commercial. And yeah, I do agree with Alan that whistle was a little bit grating, but at the same time, you remember it. It was 2 notes, and you remember it. Like I will not forget it. It is now etched into my brain. A commercial from 70-something years ago. So I'd say it's a pretty effective commercial. And hey, like it clearly worked because people are still drinking Kool-Aid and with no Kool-Aid to this day. I could ask someone half my age what Kool-Aid is, they would know it. And so I think that says a lot about the product and how successful it was.
Absolutely. Pat, did you get to weigh in on Kool-Aid? I don't think you did.
No, I didn't yet.
Kool-Aid.
So I got a fun fact for you guys about Kool-Aid. 2 quarts make a half a gallon.
That's true.
So how much would you actually put of sugar in a half a gallon of water? Would you guys do a cup? Would you do double cup?
I just went over this.
Just covered this.
There is no measurement.
Well, Jason said very little, so I just wanted to know what was the standard.
You don't measure like we don't need to talk about that sad portion of their childhood. I mean, like Jason has a lot of tragedy. Like I mean, Jared got the better gifts. He never got a Sky Striker. We know all of this, right? And on top of it, he had Kool-Aid that was very clearly not sugared enough. Like I can help out Miss Brenda to this day. I have a Kool-Aid making class. You just pour until you feel like stop pouring, And there's no limit to how much goes into the Kool-Aid. You just pour.
Well, I'm just trying to see what everybody else, how much.
I think for a gallon, Pat, I think two cups would be the
2 cups is what I thought, and I thought we would always make like at home. We'd always
learned.
make like a 2 gallon, you make a gallon at least, so you do like 2 cups of sugar and, you had to stretch that out, especially in the big families. You had to stretch that out.
You better put on some Def Leppard, man, and you know where this is going.
Yeah, I got to put some sugar on you. But overall, this commercial, I think it was pure and it was good and it was kind of thrifty. I like that.
And I'll just add.
Yeah.
But most of all, and I can't remember who brought it up. I think Jason brought it up. You know what I missed most of all? Like I need to do busting through the wall. So,
yeah, it was cool to see the face. It was cool to see his face on
like the roots of the Kool-Aid Man face on the picture.
Yeah.
I needed him to jump up, boom.
See, I'm guessing Kool-Aid Man came about in the 70s. I mean, you could picture some producer like, yeah, so what if he bursts through walls? Yeah, he's going to burst through walls. That's what we're doing now. Oh, okay. Could you stop?
Oh,
whistling?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, you better repair that before my dad gets home. All right, so that's Kool-Aid going back commercial back to the 1950s, and as we've learned, because we always teach you stuff on this show, Kool-Aid itself goes back to 1927. And this is a show about Robin Hood, I think. So we should probably move on to Delvin, who's got the information on this episode, the conception.
Allow myself to introduce myself. I'm Delvin. And episode 7 was titled The Challenge. Original air date November 7th, 1955. The director, Ralph Smart. The writer, Eric Heath. With guest stars Archie Duncan as Little John, Alexander Gage as Friar Tuck, Bernadette O'Farrell as Maid Marian, Ian Hunter as Sir Richard, and Patricia Burke as Leonia. As a reminder, all 39 episodes are available on YouTube. We highly encourage you to watch this episode before proceeding with this podcast, because not only is it just more fun that way, but Jared is about to give a synopsis about this episode, and then we're going to discuss it. There are some spoilers heading your way, so if you haven't watched this episode, Kathy, we recommend you pause here, go check it out on YouTube, and then come back to join our discussion. And at only 26 minutes per episode, it's not a big time demand. For those of you who are watching along with us, we love your insights. Don't forget to comment about the show on Twitter using the hashtag I'm following Robin Hood. We'll start with Pat in the loot.
Hashtag I'm following Robin Hood.
Jason.
I'm feeling good, so it's hashtag I'm following Robin Hood.
That's very good harmony, Jason. Jared.
Hashtag I'm following Robin Hood.
Sir Alan.
Hashtag I'm following Robin Hood.
And since Jared took my bit with the whistling, hashtag I'm following Robin Hood. Also, oh yeah. And now let's turn it over to Jared for the episode summary.
Well done, Delvin. Also may not make the show edit, but Courtney mentioned in the chat they do make no sugar added Kool-Aid now, and that is good stuff. I get a little squeeze bottle. You squeeze it directly into a glass of water.
It's
For
good.
a diabetic dude like me who can't have sugar, that stuff is good too. Let me tell
It is
you
good.
what.
They did a really good job on that product.
All right, back to the show. I think I'm supposed to be doing a summary. Let me get my peepers on.
The grape flavor is good. The grape flavor is grape.
Been going to Pat GPT again.
Been doing this 5 years. Jared needs his glasses now.
No, right? It's a sad state of affairs. All right, here's his plot summary. The sheriff uses his craftiness once again to get a nobleman friend of his, Sir Richard, to host an archery competition. The sheriff suspects that Richard has befriended the merry men of Sherwood Forest, so when Richard tells the sheriff that his chosen archers for the competition are outlaws, the good sheriff says, "Oh, no problem. We'll grant them some immunity so they can shoot against his best bowman, Giles Black." Will Robin defeat Giles Black? Well, yeah. Will the sheriff keep his word? No. Will the sheriff lay siege to Richard's castle because he's protecting the outlaws? Odds are good. Will Richard actually want to get rid of Robin, John, and the friar because they're eating all the food in the castle? Probably. Will Marian get the vapors for Robin? Definitely. Did I miss any key plot points? I don't know. Tune in, find out. Okay, we're about to go around the room. Before we start, I thought it was really weird, just from my behind the scenes. I'm always looking for stuff for fun facts, and we're not there yet. But I thought it was really weird that I could not figure out who played Giles Black. Like, I went to several sources and nothing.
You didn't go to Bold Outlaw? I mean,
okay, I didn't go to all the sources.
come on, man. You know he knows.
I don't know.
There's only
I
one
don't know
source
what I
you
was
needed to go
thinking.
to.
I don't know what I was thinking. I know he's listening right now. He's shaking his head. Sorry, Alan Wright. I should have gone directly to him. I just thought but it's just weird. I went to IMDb and Wikipedia and even at the end credits of I start at the end credits. That's the easiest one, right? He's not credited at the end credits of the show. I'm like, how are you going to talk all about Giles Black and not tell us who played Giles Black? That's weird. Anyways, that's just my 2 cents before we get started. And getting started means we start with Alan J. Porter. First round of 2 rounds. High, low, or what the?
Well, I'm going with a what the, and I know you're going to cover this more in your fun facts, but I had a what the moment very early on because this was not the episode I was expecting it to be for episode 7, because this is not episode 7 of Robin Hood.
It is.
No, it's not. It's a direct sequel to what should have been episode 7 because it's episode 8. Because my initial thing was, did I miss an episode? And then I thought back and I'm like, yeah, there's an episode missing. So Jared can talk more about that. But it threw me out of the story because this is not the night who came to dinner, which is what it should have been.
No, it's not. But anyway, what we have.
So, no, I mean, just from a watching experience, my what there was, it felt like I'd missed an episode.
Okay. Let's skip ahead a bit because I have plenty of stuff.
All right. It makes a change that I can actually talk all over what you've already got planned. So
I will address this. It is quite all right. If you guys remember on, I think it was last episode, or at least the last episode that came out, we had a fun fact because the title of the show was different, and I'll address that later on in fun facts. But let's get to this whole. This is episode 7. He's right. Alan's right. It's actually a sequel episode to another episode we haven't seen yet, and I was driving myself nuts once again going to Wikipedia and IMDb and every one of the websites. There's no 2 websites that matched up the order of these episodes. None of them matched. And then, of course, I watch it using my Plex, and Plex automatically puts the episodes in proper order. And this was absolutely number 7 on my Plex, and the description matched, and everything was fine. And so I was like, okay, well, where is Plex drawing its information from? Because Plex just data scrapes from other sites. Well, they use a site called thetvdb.com. So, okay, I've got thetvdb.com. I've got Wikipedia. I've got IMDb. I even went and found some other random websites that had the order of these, and none of them match. So then I asked the next natural question. Why? Okay, and here's basically the answer. It's 1955. They're filming these in England. Some sites have them in the order of what they call production order, the order in which the episodes were filmed. And oh, by the way, they weren't all filmed in sequence. So there's confusion number 1. Some websites do them as they were released. The episodes were released in the UK. Some websites do as the episodes were released in the US, and they don't match. So there's a hodgepodge. It's an absolute hodgepodge that don't agree. So just as a listener here on Saturday Matinee Theater, I want to be very clear with you. Going forward, we're going to use the thetvdb.com system, which may be different from its original release schedule in England. It may be different from production schedule. I don't even know which one is which anymore. But we're just going to use the one from thetvdb.com because that's the order in which they're on my Plex, and that's the order in which we started this, and we're going to continue this path. So that's going to be our source. We will not call it an official source since we can't find any that are for sure correct, because there's just so many different ones, but that's the one we're going to use. Alan, you look like you want to weigh in.
Yeah, I was going to say, and I'm not sort of, it was not a dig at you or us putting the show together or the order we put the show together, because I totally understand why you said this. Because if you search for episode 7 on YouTube, this is the one you come up with the challenge. On the DVD set, I've got, this is episode 7. But on the American DVD set, I've got, this is episode 7. But what got me about this one is that it narratively is a direct sequel. 95% of the time, it really doesn't matter. Other than the first 5 or 6, when they introduce the characters, narratively, it doesn't really matter normally what order you watch these in. But this one was, with it being a direct sequel, and it starts off with that line where Sir Richard says, well, Robin saved my lands, therefore I owe him a debt. And I'm like, hang on a minute, when did that happen?
Last episode now.
And the answer is, it happens in episode 37. So
It's like that one he's talking about is like way later in this run.
So
see, I took it as like when Robin helped Marion out when we met Marion, because she was having money problem. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I was taking it.
So yeah, I mean, it didn't create a super big vortex.
No, it didn't. But for me, it was just a definite what the moment, and then it
Oh,
got
absolutely.
me thinking about, because I've seen most of them before. It was like, yeah, I remember that episode, and why are we not seeing it now? But yeah,
and I don't think
I did the same
exaggerating.
sort of digging that you did, and it was like, oh,
Yeah, it is so hard to piece this together, and I don't think Alan's even exaggerating. I think the one that this is a sequel to is like 37 or something like that.
It is. I looked it up. I looked it on the DVD set. It's episode 37 on my DVD set.
It's weird.
So
I think they may have had some this is speculation, but I think they may have had some release issues in the US. And one thing that I thought of was like, maybe the reason this one got bumped up so high is because maybe the American release people were like, okay, what do we need to see from Robin Hood? You know, Little John, Friar Tuck, Maid Marian, these are all the first 6, right? And the splitting of the arrow. This is like something we all know.
Yeah.
And they were like, I think that might have been why it got pushed. This is speculation, but if I had to guess, that'd be a reason. I'm not waiting until episode 38 to see this.
no, but I think this was episode 8. The other one can maybe correct me. I think this was episode 8, and the other.
I'm not even guessing at this point because it is so weird. Yeah. It is weird. But I tell you what, in fun facts, I will get back to why last episode, the last aired episode, which I think was our last Robin Hood. We talked about how it actually had a different title. It's called like Adventures in Sherwood Forest. And with the help of our friend, the bold outlaw, Alan Wright, I did crack the code on that. So look forward to that in fun facts. All right. Good discussion, Alan. I do not mind you bringing that up early because I find it particularly fascinating around the show. Like the confusion is fascinating to me. And speaking of fascinating confusion, Jason, you get to go next.
That's a good segue because mine first is going to be a what the. I was a little confused on how the scoring of the archery tournament went because basically you have 2 people on each team, and you had kind of the warm up act go first, and then the main act goes second. Thanks for the balloons, Delvin. I appreciate the celebrity status. You must have unlocked something on Homescapes.
Somebody is playing an elaborate joke on me, and I just and it's funny. I'm not mad at all. I have no idea why that's happening.
I think Delvin won the tournament. That's balloons.
Congratulations again, Delvin. I don't know.
So, any rate, so as I was watching, Little John squared off against the other dude. The other dude hit the bullseye once, not center mass, but hit the bullseye and then hit outside the bullseye with his second shot. Little John hit 2 bullseyes, not center mass, but that beats the first guy, right? And then Robin Hood and Black tied, like literally tied. So why was it? I would say the Robin Hood team
just won it. Yeah, because
just won it. There was no shoot. There should have been no shootout. Just thanks to Little John, they walked away the winner. That's how I read it. I'm opening this up for discussion. I figure if anybody could pour some light on this, it's Alan. But that's my first what though. Why didn't they just win that thing outright?
I know nothing about archery competition, but my guess was that the second, if you like, was there because little John did the thing of testing the windage and then fired his arrows and then basically briefed Robin on how to adjust. Right. Is whether the first guy's there basically just to, if you like, lay the ground for it's you only score the main competitor, the chief guy, if you like, that the other guy's more like a second, like you. So I don't know. It was just a guess, but that's the way I read it anyway.
Okay, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
That's been bothering me since I watched the episode.
I was in your camp, Jason. I was like, cool, clearly they just won because Little John took down, B team bad guy. But that makes a lot of sense that the first guy doesn't technically count, but he's like the intel gatherer for the main guy. That's kind of a cool way to look at it. It makes sense. So we're going to no prize. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Next up for highs, lows, or what is Mr. Papa Balloon himself. Delve in the dark. Williams, what you got?
It's funny how Robin and Little John didn't want to leave. That was just hilarious. Like because they had a way out. They have snuck out under dicier circumstances from the situation. And it was funny. The guy was like, Sir Richard, excuse me, was like, with my own hands, I have, I've carved out this way. And even though like his wife was like, you mean your dad's old servant went, tut, tut, never mind, tut, tut. The point here is I got away. Like another quick aside. I mean, is that how you had to creep around in medieval days? Like, I mean, in a way, it's kind of romantic, right? Like, I carved out this subterranean cave just so I could hook up with you. So, I mean, we hooking up, right? This is
it's the equivalent of our days of opening up the window and going out.
I know, but I mean, there was even more work involved.
Yeah. That's true love, Delvin. True love.
It's true love. I carved out a subterranean chamber for you, in order to sneak in and out. And so all of that, but they could have left. And Robin Hood was like, yeah. And I don't know if they did it to prolong the story any longer or not, but I did find it pretty funny. Like, to a what the standard, because I think Robin could have left and went back to the Merry Men and his own thing. If there's an explanation for that, cool. If not, cool.
I do have an explanation of that because I think I have it in my notes. I think that's how Robin was getting his 5 gold pieces back from. He's like
he's getting it back in food.
He's getting it back in food. He's getting it back in drinks and just merriment. And you're staying there over a week now.
I mean, it's true. It's like, yes, Robin from the rich stealing to the poor is like, no, it's like, I sleep with a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to stick around with Marion for like about. I'm going to ride.
I don't always have a roof over my head.
Sometimes it rains and it gets cold, and I have to huddle up with Little John, and that's okay. But I would rather huddle up with Meg Marion.
I agree, Delvin. It was funny, especially from Robin, because it was like un-Robin-like behavior. He was like acting borderline irresponsible. But he knew it. He was like well aware of it.
It was a week he could hang out with Maid Marian too, so that's romantic.
Well, she was clearly into it. So, anyways, Pat, it's your turn to talk.
Yeah, I truly believe that he's stuck there. Either one, because he was able to, hang out with her and just have fun, and just, that's irritating King Richard or Richard, at making him pay his money and then he gets nothing back. He just gets his money back again from him. So I think that was his dig at him. And, we're going to stay here. We're going to have fun. We're going to do all that. But
all dude did was like, can I borrow $5?
Yeah.
Congratulations, you won. Here's $5.
The funny part about that too is he asked his wife to get the money purse and she's like, he goes, did you get the money bag? Make it as, I can't remember the words that she used, but it was like
spare no expense.
Yeah, spare no expense. So she gave him the purse with nothing in it. No expense was. I was like, oh, that was a good joke. And then I'm like, oh, it came back to bite him though. I like that. But I want to talk about the sheriff. This sheriff. I think he's really a good foe for Robin Hood. I mean, he had a good plan here. I right away when he was talking about him, like, oh, okay. Oh, I know who he's going to get. I know what's going on here. But he held to his word, kind of. He said nobody was going to get hurt until they left the perimeter that he discussed. And I thought that was very respectful of him. But he is conniving. He's definitely.
he's like it's not really a trap. Okay, it was a trap.
It's a trap.
But going to what you said, though, Pat, I do want to underscore that I think Alan Wheatley is a very good actor for that role. I think he, as the sheriff, is excellent.
Yeah, because you need somebody that's going to play up to the same caliber that Robin's playing. You know, we've seen many, and this one's a different side. It's a more playful side of Robin in this one. It was kind of fun to see. And Little John. Oh, man.
Dancing and snacking and snacking and dancing.
But and Friar Tuck, by the way, he didn't exactly miss out on any opportunities for meals either. Like he could have left. He was the friar. He was protected. He's like, no, I think I'm gonna stay here and hang out with my friends and eat all this food too.
True.
Well, it has come back to Alan. Alan, what else you got left on this episode?
I am actually going to pick up on something Pat was just talking about. And for me, I absolutely loved with this episode was the sharp, witty dialogue and wordplay. We're used to it with a couple of the characters, but it was like every single character was the script was just on point with all of them. The wordplay, like you said, with very early on, it really established that banter between Sir Richard and his wife, Leona, about, you know, him leaving his ideas on the shelf in the kitchen. You know, he wasn't, oh, have your wits about you. And he was like, no, I was actually going to leave them on the shelf in the kitchen, but decided to bring them with me. And then the thing about the money bag, you know, and stuff. And even down to the sheriff, like you said, the sheriff being so precise with his words about, and they played that back later on, that sort of came back around later on. You know, I said that they would be free in the castle to leave the castle, but obviously once they left the castle, you know, I just loved how on point and brilliant the dialogue was in this. It was funny. It was smart. It played into pretty much every scene, was driven by a piece of earlier dialogue. I just loved it all the way through. I just took loads of notes about it, but it all really just came down to an absolutely brilliant script. So I don't know if this was a different writer. I didn't actually go look it up, because I got too distracted looking the other stuff up. But I didn't actually go look up and see if this is a different writer than usual. I mean, normally it's a very well scripted show anyway, but this one was just, the wordplay in it was just fantastic. In it. So yeah.
Yeah, that goes back to, looking back, the writer of this episode, Delvin told us earlier, was Eric Heath. I think he's done a couple others, him and Rig Lardner Jr. And if you remember earlier on this show, and I'm talking more to our listeners, on this program, we're talking about Robin Hood. One of Hannah Weinstein's big things is she hired over a lot of the blacklisted writers from Hollywood. So we have some very strong Hollywood talent for like big movie writers writing for this little TV show in England. And that's why you get this quality of writers. And I think that's where that sharpness comes from, Alan. Just these super high quality guys that are just kind of looking for work outside of the US.
Yeah. I mean, obviously been, you know, aware of that background and the quality of the writers on the show, but I don't know, this episode in particular, just of the 7 we've watched so far, really stood out for me in terms of the wordplay.
Yeah, they've all been sharp, but this one was, sharp. You're right. Absolutely. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Which brings us back to Jason.
I really like the cleverness of Sir Richard getting himself into and out of trouble during this whole thing. And one particular instant was the question, like, how do I get Robin Hood to actually participate in this challenge? Right. So he sings out his minstrel like a little singing telegram, just wandering through the forest, playing the song. And of course, gets picked up and then brought back to camp. And then that song had me laughing because he's just like, I'm making it up, but you know, who's the best and he's shooting so good? And Robin is like, yeah, I know where this is going. If Sir Giles Black is better than Robin Hood. He's like, what the? And it's like he's hooked, man. You know it's going down now. The look on Robin's face.
It's uncharacteristic of Robin too to like just take that bait, you know.
If records weren't around, there would have been
record scratch moment. Oh man, that was so good. Oh, I just love I loved it. And how he got out of the trouble, getting those guys out of his castle. I got some respect for Sir Richard. And to Alan's earlier point, now I'm kind of looking forward to episode 37 or 38 or wherever he shows up again to see more of him. So
Just remember when you watch it, you have actually never met this character before. Okay.
Well, yeah, I think where you're confused now, I would have been if we didn't have this conversation confused on episode 37 when we got there. Like, wait, didn't we meet him earlier? Yeah. So, but at any rate, Sir Richard, hats off. That was funny.
He was good. He was very good. Delvin.
It's definitely worth mentioning. They've already talked about the wordplay, but we didn't get into a little bit of the classic British banter as well, especially between or the banter / barbs thrown between Robin Hood and the sheriff, where like from the start, where Robin Hood's like, you can't trust him at his word, and it just immediately pans to the sheriff, and he said something like, he's like, I didn't give my word to a gentleman, or something like that. And it was like, there, it's already started. Like you could see his plan, but I give the sheriff credit. Like he has a bit of wiliness about him. And like we talked about, it was mentioned before about how he carefully said his words. It's like, I said, yeah, the tournament. I didn't say anything 1 second after the tournament. But then as soon as his cleverness wasn't going to work, and Sir Richard was like, you went against your word, and there's no way this was a guest in my house, and I'm not going to let you take him. And he's like, no, fine. I'll just lay siege to your whole castle. And it's like, and is it worth it? The answer is no, right? Like, it really is just Robin of Locksley and a group of freaking vagabonds, right? Like, but the biggest crime that they've committed is that they pissed the sheriff off. And since they did that, there are no means that he won't take to make sure that they are like. The first thing, by the way, again, speaking to the sheriff's craftiness, the first thing that he tried to do with Robin was humiliate him. He didn't really, even if all of that other stuff was in place, right? Like, let's say in like Sheriff's world that Robin would have lost that competition to Giles. And then as soon as he walked out of the castle, he would have gotten his butt beat and thrown in the brig. Like he could have just immediately went back on his word, right? But he didn't. He wanted to see him humiliated first. And that's a sign that you really, really hate someone. It's not enough just to beat you and throw you in jail. I need to see you publicly shamed first, and then I'm going to throw you in jail. So it definitely speaks to some of the motives behind the sheriff, and it's that little bit of layered hatred. And as an antagonist, you kind of have to appreciate that he's willing to antagonize the protagonist. So I give him credit for that.
He's like a really good Bond villain, or a bad one. Either way, like he's all in on not just like you said, catching this guy, but just like I'm going to humiliate him at every chance I get. Oh man! Speaking of humiliating me every chance he gets, Pat, I think you get the final word on this.
Well, I just want to reiterate kind of what Alan was saying, and Delvin brought it up. That was one of the word plays that I really liked about it. I had to play it back a couple of times. Is the conversation that was happening between the sheriff and Richard, but it was really kind of aimed at Robin when he said that, I give him my word, but to a gentleman only, never before. And I'm like, ooh, that hits hard. I like that. There was a lot of good wordplay going on.
Yeah, I've never broken my word to a gentleman
before. Yeah, yeah. Oh man,
and Robin popped up. What the
what
the what?
and
I was a gentleman until you let that dude steal my land.
And to go back to Delvin was mentioning, that Robin Hood and they're just merry men and all that. But according to Robin, he takes it seriously. He even said that being an outlaw is serious business. Mm-hmm. I mean, that man, he means business when it comes to outlawing. If you're going to outlaw, you got to be like Robin is. You got to do all that and then some, you know. But I think we all talked a lot about this one. This is a very good character development episode that's going on that I really don't have much else because everybody took some other things that we had already gone over. So the splitting of the arrow, we kind of glossed over that, but yet that was really cool to see. And I was like, ooh, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Oh. And then it did. I'm like, yay!
Hey, Robin Hood!
It makes me wonder, like, I saw that and I knew what was going to happen. And I'm like, how did I know this? Like, I feel like I have this Swiss cheese quantum leap like memory when it comes to like my association with Robin Hood, because I knew that was going to happen. And I also just want to add, like, man, I tell you what, like, you know, if you are a fair lass back in the day and you got some dude, shot the target dead center, he's like, dang, that's a man. And then Robin comes up and splits the arrow. Like, okay, yeah, that's all I need. Like, yeah, I think I'm gonna hang out with you because, like,
even Giles was packing his duffel bag, just like, I'm done.
And he was done, and then Maid Marian was like, "Oh yeah, I was hoping that you'd stay longer for the banquet. I was gonna enjoy
maybe a week or so.
Yeah, I was gonna enjoy that banquet all night." Like, whoa, whoo,
Easy.
I'm just saying, I can't blame a lady for doing that. I mean, he split an arrow. Like, what? How good of a shot would you have to be, and how much of a man would that prove that you were, like, during those times? Heck, if I saw someone do that now, I would be like, that is one of the most incredible things that I have ever seen. So yeah, like that, we shouldn't have glossed over that, Pat. So that was an incredible spot.
You know, and then you see poor Giles and his buddy. They're just sitting outside on just, you know, with their head hanging low, their bows on the ground, drinking whatever, you know, just kind of sitting there going, man, we are so losers. I don't want to meet up with these losers anymore. Or with these guys. We're just a bunch of, you know, they were just two chumps after that.
And then they got their butts kicked and their clothes stolen on top of it. It's like, not only am I a better archer than you, I can ambush you and take your clothes. Like, whoo, bad day for Giles.
But you know what? I'm going to throw some respect Giles' way, because Jason mentioned it earlier. Like, once he split that arrow, Giles was like, he was like Peter Griffin, I think. He was like, done.
Yeah.
You win. Yeah. You know, he took it like a man. He didn't get petty or vindictive or anything. He was just like, done.
Because I think there comes a time, right? Like, if you're really, really good at something, and very clearly Giles was, I mean, he hit bullseye, right? Like, that takes an incredible amount of skill. But if you're that skilled, like jiu-jitsu terms, right? Like, you get to that point where you're that 1%, but then you're that 1% of that 1%, where you could just do things that literally no one else on the planet can do. And if you're in that 1% and someone else can do that, all you can do is recognize it or hate on it, I guess. But if you're a true gentleman, like Jason said, you recognize it, you tip your cap, and you call it a day, because, you know, that person was just better than you on that. That's just how it goes.
Indeed, indeed. The only thing I'll add that made me laugh was when Sir Richard had dug that tunnel and the sheriff was in the middle of his siege, and he was standing out there like, I got this siege by the siege balls, you know. And Richard's standing next to him. He's like, yeah, man, ain't nobody ever gonna come at this thing. You got it covered. He's like, yeah, what the what? I was laughing. That was pretty funny physical humor.
He said, are you sure about that?
It was a good spot, and it spoke to Richard's craftiness, because, like, Richard really, at the end, if you think about it, like, one of the craziest feats in the whole show was Robin, but the most crafty person was Sir Richard. Sir Richard outsmarted both the Sheriff of Nottingham and Robin Hood.
Man, that guy.
Plus his scheme was to get the 50,000 off of Robin's own money.
He played with house money in a sense. Oh,
Which I think goes back to Pat's point, which is why Robin stuck around because he was getting his 5 crowns worth.
he did. Him and just the fryer alone got
The food alone, just him. You got to feed Friar Tuck plus
Little John.
Little John.
Oh man.
That's like you go into an all-you-can-eat buffet, and the people are like, "Wait a minute, we're not open 24/7."
All right. Anybody else have anything before we move to fun facts? Anybody got anything on?
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to pick up on. I saw we mentioned it earlier on with Pat and the ukulele and the guitar. I love the details, the historical details, because that instrument is a gittern, Gittern, which is how they pronounced it in the show, which I thought was great. But the details with the archery thing, them switching to smaller targets, because traditionally in the movies when they do that, they just take the target and move it further back, which basically increases the range, which is not how they used to score it. From what I've read, they did go to progressively smaller and smaller targets. So because they were doing it within a fixed length of a courtyard or something like that.
That makes sense.
So I love that, and the thing about the strength of the bowstring that Robin and the other guy, Black, could pull, that they had the strength. But I also love the fact that Robin explained why he shoots quickly. When he was saying about, if you're in the forest and there's a deer, you can't take 20 seconds to line up a shot because the deer will be gone. So I just loved all the little details, practical and historical details that they put through this episode as well. Yeah. So just wanted to give those a shout out.
Did you guys notice that when they were showing the shooting, that they would have, when they would put their arm up, where they would rest the arrow, sometimes it'd be on the left side, sometimes it would be on the right side of it too. Wouldn't that mess up the arrow going through, if you know what I mean? I'm not an expert on that, but
I am an expert in the golden arches, Pat.
Yes. Some might say you're a friar to those.
I have read an Archie comic or two.
Okay. So you got some knowledge. Yeah. So you both got some knowledge.
One more. I've seen some All in the Family that had Archie Bunker. Okay, yes. I'm good.
I've been to the St. Louis Arch before.
A friar tucked away a couple quarter pounders.
Back to the golden arches.
Back to the golden arches. In all seriousness, I'm old enough that I went to high school at a time when you could do archery. They trusted us with bows and arrows.
Yep. I remember that.
And right. And I remember, like, when you to get to notch an arrow, you held it like horizontal, and then the arrow went like over your left index finger, and you pulled back like this, and then plucked the string. So it should have been, if you're left-handed, it should have been on the left
side.
Okay. Or sorry, right-handed, it should have been on the left, and right-handed on the right. I think. I don't know.
Closest you're going to get to
somebody got shot in the leg.
Yeah, no, and that's just something. That was just something.
High school.
Just something I noticed and found fascinating.
Well, all right. We're about to move on to fun facts. Before I do that, I will remind our live viewing audience, make sure you sound off in the chat if you want to be entered for one of our free raffles today. I think at this point we have our buddy Alan, who's in there under Puck Robin, not Alan on the show, but Alan in the chat. We've got
okay. I'm not buddy Alan now, am I? That's it.
No, your best friend Alan. You know this.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I think we got Auburn, Courtney, Kat. Delvin will know better than me. I'm just trying to give shout outs to people who are in the chat. If you're not, stop by and say hello, and we'll get you in those raffles. With that, I will get into the fun facts. I'm sorry my fun facts feel a bit more scripted this time. I didn't know if I was going to make it to the show, so I wrote it in script form for Delvin to read. Maybe I should have Delvin read the fun facts. But that's all right. I got it right here. So, a follow-up to last episode's discussion about the title of the show being The Adventures in Sherwood Forest as opposed to The Adventures of Robin Hood. With a little help from a very wise and anonymous source. Okay, it was Alan Wright at Bold Outlaw. I learned that there was a rule that said if a show is shown in syndication in the United States but it's still airing new episodes as well. The syndicated version cannot have the exact same title. So the most common version out there digitally, which is probably the cleanest print for the episode that we watched, was a US syndicated version, hence the different title. I thought that was a little bit fascinating. Other examples of shows that slightly changed syndication names because new episodes were still being aired are Happy Days was called Happy Days Again, and Three's Company was released as Three's Company 2. So if we end up watching another The Adventures in Sherwood Forest, we'll know that it's just a syndicated version, most likely to it being the best quality print of the episode that is available at the time. Thanks to friend of the show, Alan Wright at Bold Outlaw on X for squaring us away on that. So, did anybody else here know that if you're getting syndication before the show is actually done airing new episodes, it would have a different title? Because that was news to me.
Yeah, I heard that before. That's fascinating. Yeah.
That must have changed though, because nowadays you can see, you can see older shows. They're playing them before even new shows are out.
No, I think you're getting it mixed up, Pat. What they're saying is like, so even though it's not network TV, but let's assume that the show Reacher was on network TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was airing, and right now it's on like season 2. But let's say that they started airing episodes of Reacher on another channel. They'd have to change the name. It'd be like
Jack Reacher.
Well,
Jack.
But
Reacher.
I see that. But I see that right now. Like I'll watch episodes of Chicago PD or something like that on.
You know what? You are right. Like they do that with Bob's Burgers. Bob's Burgers
on a totally different network, unless that network is owned by.
Yeah, you're right, Pat. Bob's Burgers is like popped up in my head, or American Dad. They still show new episodes of American Dad, but like they also show syndication.
Well, look at The Simpsons. The Simpsons is out there for how long?
Yep.
Being on
Probably check with our legal
It's
team on
called The
this.
Samsons. I don't know if you've caught that, Pat. They changed it.
What is that?
They call it The Samsons if they show it syndication.
I
Yeah,
wonder
you know
what
what?
I'd look like.
I-
I wonder what I'd look like if I was a Simpson.
It's interesting that both examples that we got from the Bold Outlaw were like late 70s, early 80s examples, because I'm starting to think, Pat, maybe right, like maybe that
something changed down the road,
as maybe cable got bigger and broader or something, but at
Could
least
be.
for a sliver of history, that's the way it was. Pat.
Because you talk about obviously into the 70s and 80s with Happy Days and Three's Company. Those were in that time frame yet of the 70s and 80s for sure.
Yeah, I'm guessing that once cable TV got like as big as it did, I'm betting that's when sort of they got a little shiftier on that. That's just Jared's guess again. I don't have the paper.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It definitely makes sense. And I never knew Happy Days Again what that was, but it was like, oh, this makes sense.
It was just blowing my mind the last episode when like, why would you call it Sherwood Forest? Like, what's up with the title change on episode 6? What's going on? Come to find out, it's a U.S. syndicated version. That's how it worked back in the day, I guess. The only other fun fact I had, we already tackled, so I'll just use this as a reminder to our listening audience that with the highly confusing production schedule versus UK release schedule versus US schedule, not saying that this one's more correct than any of the other ones, we're going to be using the schedule provided by vtvdb.com. It's going to be the one that we go with because I think that's how the DVD sets that Alan and I both had released them under as well. And that's just how it's going to be for us. That's the source we're going to use. Hey, Kathy in the chat mentions that multiple channels now being owned by the same network or company probably have a lot to do with being able to re-release shows with the same title. And that's, I think, a smart observation as well. All right, guys, we've gotten through a lot of the fun facts. I don't know. These are particularly fun to me. I like looking back at sort of the history of TV, and I actually kind of think it's neat that the airing orders are so wildly different from where you go. It's just kind of a snapshot because no one was capturing this data back in 1955.
No.
In fact, a lot of British TV, this is like Jared's additional fun fact you guys may have already known, like especially at the BBC, they've had this very mindset of once something is aired, you either saw it or you didn't, and it's done. Very famously, there's missing episodes of Doctor Who because they would take those tapes and they'd re-tape over them with something else. It's also like that with a very favorite Sherlock Holmes version of mine with Peter Cushing and Nigel Stock. There's episodes of that missing for the same reasons. It just, no one was in the mindset of someone's going to want to watch this again 50 years from now, 60 years from now. It was a whole mindset thing. Now we sort of covet these old shows and we curate them and that kind of thing. But back then, no one was thinking of that. And I find that stuff fascinating. So welcome to Jared's Talks on Old TV, episode 1. With that, let's get into the mailbag. We are thrilled to kick off these comments.
Jared,
We didn't rate.
we had rate.
Oh, I did. I scrolled too far. You're right. My bad. With that, let's get into the arrow ratings. If you give this 5 arrows, that means you loved this episode. 4 means it was very good. 3 means it was good. 2 is just okay. And 1 did not like it. We will go clockwise this time. We will start with Pat. Pat, 1 to 5. What do you think of the challenge?
Well, Jared, I am going to challenge everybody to go higher than me, as I'm going to give it a 4, a very strong 4 on this one.
All right. I like it. It takes it to Delvin. You're going to match 4. You're going to go higher. You're going to go lower. What's happening over there? You're going to try to escape with the secret tunnel?
I feel like doing like y'all might do me on Crusade Myths and automatically giving it a 5 just to be contrary and petty. I'm feeling a 4. Like that said, though, like if I were ever to see somebody split an arrow in real life, I would be so dang impressed by that. Like that, but like I think minus that moment. Like, I mean, and it's hard to minus that moment because that is yet another seminal moment for, Robin Hood lore. But I give the episode a 4. I mean, I feel like I'm apologizing for giving Robin Hood a 4, which shows you the quality of the shows that we've been watching so far. It's either been 4s or 5s. It's been very little. Like, I don't even think I remember a single person giving it a 3 yet. And there's a reason for it. So I'm with Pat. I think it's a 4.
Jason.
I'm going to accept Pat's challenge and I'm going to give it a 5. I'm rolling 5 out here. It's as soon as I saw the title of the episode, I was like, an arrow's getting split. And this is one of those seminal moments that I really wanted to see. Not only did I see it, it wasn't even the most interesting moment on the show. So I think Alan brought it up. It's every character from Sir Richard's wife, Maid Marian, Little John, Friar Tuck, this sheriff, the 2 guys that they were competing against. Everybody had perfect lines, memorable moments, and it was just enjoyable. And I laughed out loud from beginning to end. And this is becoming one of my favorite shows. Like maybe in my top 10 of Pantheon of shows. We'll see how it ends up, but I am really, really liking this series. 5 for me.
Brings it to you, Alan.
Well, other than the fact it wasn't the episode I was expecting, no, I'm going with Jason. I just think it's a 5 for the scripting, the wordplay, the character development, plus the fact, as you said, it has one of those seminal Robin Hood ones, and it was done really well. I think the arrow splitting was done in a way that made a lot more sense than you see it done in a lot of the movies, and just the whole way that was carried on and done. For me, this was just an excellent episode all around. So I'm going with 5.
Oh, I have the unenviable task of figuring out which 2 groups of guys I want to go with. And
What kind of guys are they, Jared?
Well, I'm going to join the 2 cool guys at 5 and leave the 2 chumps over at 4.
Oh,
Pat, we're sitting on the outside of the castle. We're about to get beat up.
let's siege them. We're calling it a siege.
Honestly, if Joe November was here, but he's not. If he was, I'd go 4.5. And the only really deduction is I thought that in 2 instances that Robin was a little managed by his emotions, which is not typical for him. Like he let that Luke guy get up under his skin, right? And then he was being total jerk to Sir Richard in a way. But Pat, you helped me overcome that because you made me realize that like he's getting his $5 back. This is what he's doing. And I hadn't thought of that. So really the only slight dig I have is like the Luke guy was like, you're not the best archer in the world. You know, and Robin was like, what the what? You know? And I'm like, Robin's too cool for that. But in the end, it was so much fun. And as Alan pointed out, the dialogue is so sharp. I'm going to keep this at a 5, much like Jason. I didn't think we'd watch a show that I found as, I won't say more entertaining yet, but as entertaining as 54 Homes. I love 54 Homes, and this is in league with that. And for me, that's high marks.
It's been great. It has been. Like I truly look forward to watching them because I know there's going to be a high quality show, and that's a great place to start. You know, as opposed to rhymes with fat man.
You leave Beat Matt out of this.
Sorry, Batman. My bad.
Oh, I think I mentioned this early on when we started these episodes, but credit where it's due. Well before we ever ended up doing Adventures of Robin Hood for our next show after, Sherlock Holmes, it was Alan J. Porter who was like, man, if you go with that Robin Hood show, you will not be disappointed. He was like a little voice in my ear, like, you need to get that Robin Hood show going. And he has been correct.
Hey, as soon as you mentioned Archie Duncan on the Sherlock Holmes and how much
you were like,
him, I'm like, hey, if you like him here, I was like Amazon. If you like this one, I highly recommend this one.
You absolutely were. Okay, guys, with all the scoring done, we are thrilled to kick off this episode with special shout outs to Crusaders Club members. These are the fine folks who have joined our crusade. They enjoy early access to special Longbox episodes, voting on show content, raffle prizes, so much more. These are the folks reaping the benefits and giving some much appreciated support to the show. Before I send it around the horn, I don't remember if Alan has a copy of the script or not. Okay, so it's just the LBC crew, and we'll start with you, Pat.
Oh, my turn. And Helica Wolf.
Joining us in the chat, Auburn Elvis.
Bill Beer.
Braxton Underwood.
Clinton Robinson. Keeping him locked in that tunnel.
Captain Entropy.
Clark Westfield.
Dave Collins, Battle Wagon.
Ooh, I've been waiting on this one, guys. I just had a new one. It is better than Ezra Gallo. No one.
You've been hearing that joke since 1994. I called it a new one.
He's desperately wanting for a new joke. Hey,
Exactly.
oh. Better than Ezra cut.
Hopefully doesn't get jealous about it.
Gary V.
I'm not encouraging you guys. Gene Hendricks.
Gerald Green.
Heinz K.
Jason Keene.
Jason Lady.
Jeremy L.
Oh.
You better grab that loot.
Here we go. Jim Jarman. I hope you like Jim Jarman too. Jim Jarman.
So somewhere Bob Marley is smiling in his grave, not rolling over, smiling broadly. Jim Neal.
Joe Thomas.
Josh Strickland.
Candace Ward.
Kathy Bright.
Matt and Lissy Paso.
Mark Ross.
The marvelous Miranda W.
Also marvelous Maxwell Traver.
P.D. Devons.
Paul Hicks.
Rick and Jeff from Rick and Jeff Present.
Rob Morgan.
Samantha Maney.
Sean Urbanski.
Spidey 67.
Spreadsheet.
Steve Cronin.
Tim Price.
Tony Pennington.
And Toronto Cop.
If we miss anyone on our list, we apologize. Keep in mind, we record these episodes well in advance of release. So if you're a recent edition, we will add you soon. But no worries. You can always send a hate-filled email to Pat. He's at contact@longboxcrusade.com we will get it squared away. If you're asking yourself, how do I get in on all this? I mean, raffle giveaways and show inputs and maybe being a guest and all this, just go to patreon.com/Longbox Crusade for as little as $1 a month, which I think is one golden angel as well. You'll get access to the amazing world of the Crusaders Club. Come and check it out. And if you don't have any scratch laying around but still want to help us out here at LBC headquarters, take a moment to write a review on however you're listening to this podcast. And if you want to keep it short with those star ratings, we would appreciate that as well. Of course, if you write a review, we'll read it on the next show. Okay, let's get into the shares and the retweets and all that jazz from episode 77 of Saturday Matinee Theater, where we talked about episode 5 of Robin Hood. It was the main Marion episode with guest stars Ruth and Darren Sutherland. Let's shout out to the people who shouted out for us. Go ahead, Pat.
I'm so excited.
Okay. Chris at BTO and Bat Books.
Let it
roll.
Highway.
Roll.
Roll.
Play with me, Pat.
Right.
Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me.
I'm not looking at the screen right now, but I can imagine Alan is like, these people are so damn weird. I'm not.
Sorry, was that meant to be news?
No, like sometimes you just get that verification, that re-verification. It's like, oh yeah.
Remember, Alan chose and wanted to be with us. So
that's true. And I mean, you don't know if I'm giving him those gold angels or not. Anyway, Comic Foil.
And we thank him for all his input and wisdom. It's Robin Hood, Bold Outlaw.
Yeah, definitely helping with behind the scenes stuff like he did for Fun Facts today. Very helpful. Thanks, buddy. And one of my very favorite, my favorite Deborah on the planet, Dame Deborah Smith. Thanks for that share.
Wait a minute. Even better than Little Debbie? Little Debbie Snapcake's pretty good.
I don't know. Actual Deborah's mac and cheese is incredible, by the way. And her red velvet cake.
You ain't have my mama's chocolate cake. You have my mama's chocolate cake. You be like,
all right,
Little Debbie, who?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, she's held in high regard. Let's get into some comments. We got a fair amount of comments on that last episode. So if you want to grab one, Pat, then feel free.
okay, I will take one from Comic Foil, and they say another great podcast for another great episode. Well, thank you. We appreciate you feedback. I appreciate these tweets to remind me to keep watching this great Robin Hood series. Same. We appreciate you appreciating us, appreciating you appreciating.
Yeah, I love the fact that he's watching the series because that's really what we want to
watching
do
along with
Saturday
us.
Matinee Theater. Yeah, we want more people to find this wonderful thing.
Yeah, it's not a great time demand to do this.
No, it's not. Delvin tells us that every episode.
Every episode. Like, I don't know if people really appreciate that nuance, Jared. I'm not sure they do or not. But
Anyway.
you know who does? Robin Hood Bold Outlaw. He says, looking forward to this. And rad adventures are great. Hashtag I'm following Robin Hood. Yes, absolutely. Ruth and Darren are both great. Absolutely amazing people.
Well, that rolls nicely into mine because Ruth Sutherland, she tweeted, love this series, really enjoyed our conversation, and we really enjoyed having you there, Ruth, and Darren too.
Absolutely. And then we have our friend Rick Heineken from Unpacking the Power of the Power Pack, because the Power Pack don't stop. And he said, on my bookshelf, purchased when I was in high school, provided a picture of some old tattered paperbacks on his bookshelf, and I love the look of that. And if you look carefully, there is a Robin Hood book in there, isn't there? It is The Outlaw of Sherwood, printed by Ace. It looks like a well-loved paperback book, and I love it when I see stuff. It's by, hang on, let me zoom in, Robin McKinley. Thanks
Robin,
for the share.
writing about Robin.
Robin on Robin. You usually got to pay double for that.
Mhm.
But thanks for the share on that, Rick. That's cool.
And I'll take another comment from Alan himself, Alan from Robin Hood Bold Outlaw. And he says, this is the ballad that inspired a part of the episode. And he brings a link. So if you're interested in that link, go out to our Twitter or X page and find his comment, and he'll get you to the link. And he says, some scholars have seen it as a lesser version of the Robin Hood meets his match ballads, but others have argued that this is not worse than the others of its kind.
I saw one of those ballads. I clicked on the link. One of them were like 268 stanzas long, and I was like, I'm not reading all that.
You were like, can't stand ya.
But it made me just get like, this guy has such an appreciation for this stuff. And I absolutely love those like guys and gals who just have that deep dive into such subject matter like that. It's awesome to see. It's like you know that there's like, you know, some big deep ocean out there. If you ever just need to take a drink, you know, you know exactly where it is. And that's what he's provided. It's awesome.
I laughed when I read that comic because it's like some scholars see it as a lesser version, but you know, there's obviously some opinion involved. And this is one of those things where, like, if it came up in conversation and I was sitting next to the Bold Outlaw and they were like such and such ballad, I've been like, that ballad is it good? It's good. It's good. You know, I just looked at him and whatever he's nodding or shaking his head, I would, yeah, that's the opinion I'm gonna go. I do that a lot with Alan on James Bond as well. Our Alan J. Porter. Except he doesn't like Jaws. I'm not sure what that's about, but that's for a whole other podcast.
I don't know. It's a pretty good movie. Shark was cool.
It's got me again. All right, folks, if you want to be like everybody who just got shout outs, clearly an easy way is to comment on the show, send us an email. We've talked about all that, or you can always leave us a voicemail if you want to hear your own voice on the show, and we'll respond to your question, whatever you ask, on the voicemail. And our phone number is 707-532-5269. That is 707-532-LBOX.
Pick up the phone.
Yes, correct.
I had to get ahead. I was like, I don't need anyone else to jump in.
I will have this bit. And it's to Jason for closing.
That's it for this episode of Saturday Matinee Theater. If you'd like to hear more from us in the realm of comic books, check out the Longbox Crusade. Pat, where can they find that?
Well, Jason, I am glad you asked. You can find the Longbox Crusade on all of the fine podcatchers that are out there. Or you can go to www.longboxcrusade.com. Did you know we're also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube? Well, you must know that we're on YouTube because you're watching us right now. If you are, and you got that notification and you click that bell and subscribed. Or just go to all those sites and find us. We're at Longbox Crusade. Just search us out there and you'll find us. Back to you, Jason.
We also like James Bond a little bit, so if you want to hear us on our track through all things James Bond, check out On Her Majesty's Secret Podcast. Jared, where can they find that?
Well, Jason, I'm glad you asked. As he scrolls to find that. Okay. We're on all your finer podcatchers. And, of course, we are on Podbean. That's where we're based out of. You can check us out directly at www.secretpodcast.podbean.com. You can check out our Twitter at OHMSPod. And we definitely do deep dives into all things James Bond. So come and check us out. Just to give the listening audience a flavor of what you might get, I think on an upcoming episode, we're going to be looking at another television episode of Man from U.N.C.L.E., which was partially an Ian Fleming creation. We've really been enjoying those.
Well, all right. And if you'd like to chat with us online, we can be counted at. If you'd like to chat with us online, we can be found at Delvin. Go ahead and kick us off.
Twitter X DEE_RAY1977. Instagram Delvin Ray. Pat.
Well, Delvin, I'm glad you asked. You can find me on the X at Christatos01. Jared, where can you be found?
I am at the X and the Facebook and the Instagram. It's all at Yard Sale Artist, and you can check out my artwares at www.theyardsaleartist.com. Back to Jason.
Well, you can find me on Instagram or on Threads at Jason Albrick. And Alan, let me pitch it over to you so you can tell the good folks where they can find you.
You can find me on most of the social media platforms at Alan J. Porter, or if you want to track me down everywhere I am on the web, if you just go to my website, alanjporter.com, and click on the links page, you can find links to all the stuff I do online.
Well, that's it. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Saturday Matinee Theater. Uh-oh, emergency broadcast. This just in. Guess what, folks? You voted, and we listened. Since we bid farewell to the 1943 Batman serial. What a great serial it was. I'm seeing the enthusiasm in the guys' faces as they, yep, okay. All right. Our next episode will begin our coverage of the Dark Fox himself. No, it's not a new nickname for Delvin. It could be, though. We could, double entendre. Get your whips. Are you sure this isn't for Delvin? I'm kidding. Get your whips oiled and your 6-shooters loaded. Yeah, this one is more of a Western, using pistols instead of his usual blade. And also, it's the original Zorro's great-grandson. You know what? Just tune in. We begin our coverage of the 1937 serial, Zorro Rides Again, Chapter 1, Death from the Sky. The meetup location, Casa de Vega. Here we go.
Well done.
Ooh, we did it.
We did it.
We're not ruling out Dark Fox as another nickname for Delvin. So
No. We got Chocolate Fountain, Dark Fox.
The list keeps growing.
At one point, I was being made fun of by Delvin for my number of nicknames, and that was I am long gone on that. Awesome. Well, let's get into some raffly stuff. Delvin, what do you got?
I got 7 names. 7 names. Auburn Elvis, Kathy, MVP Kathy, Billy Dunleavy, Courtney Holland, Bold Outlaw himself, Aaron Head Moss, and Michelle Moss.
Okay. I don't know if Courtney's still with us. Courtney, if you are, you can drop a number 1 through 7.
I go with Auburn Elvis on it.
If not, yeah, let's just
in a minute.
Auburn Elvis. You can toss one in and be prepared to be defeated by Courtney if she does throw out a number. But Auburn Elvis, we throw up a backup number of 1 through 7. And while you do that, I will pull up the Patreon page.
He already pulled the number.
Okay, he pulled a 6.
He did. If you want more time, I can just. We can pregnant pause it. Okay.
Yeah, well, before you do that, let's go ahead and remind people, don't forget to like and subscribe to YouTube and Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those places. Like and subscribe and hit the buttons. Okay, Jared, back to you.
Buttons. Hit them.
Hit them. Okay, yeah, person 1, Billy Dunleavy.
Billy D.
Billy D.
Billy D.
We don't know what you've won, but it's something.
It's delicious. Either way, it's delicious.
Okay, and unfortunately, guys, we had someone drop out through no fault of their own. I don't think. I think it's a system problem through Patreon. So we're actually not at 40 anymore. We're back to 39.
Oh, you got to unwatch Fantastic Four.
Yeah, we got to unwatch it.
Not possible. It's burned in my cerebral cortex.
Hey, Pat, I need you to do me a favor. If you go ahead and pull up our Patreon, our paid members are 39, and kind of put your mouse in some random spot.
Okay, give me
And then while you're doing that, Auburn Elvis, can we get a number between 1 and 39? I forgot I can't pull it up on this computer without you approving it, Pat. So I just figured I'd have you do it.
Oh, crap. I got to approve myself, too, because I just...
Well, while you're doing that, Auburn Elvis, gives a number between 1 and 39. And it looks like once you get there, Pat, we'll be doing number 33. But don't feel like a rush because you got to count 33 spaces from where. While you're doing that, I'll let everybody know what's coming up
I'm in.
as far as your Longbox Crusade crew. We are going to be recording our first day of Crusademas 2024 this week on Wednesday. So, like 12 months from now, you guys are going to enjoy that.
I
Jim
haven't
Neal's
even
going to be.
seen Mary Jane since that Christmas party, man.
I would check the local jails. But yeah, we've got Jim Neal, one of our latest additions to the Longbox Crusade extended family. He's going to be bringing something related to G.I. Joe, I would guess, to that. That's on Wednesday. On Thursday, Jason and I have a very special recording of Action Film Face Off episode 65, where we're going to break down and see how you all voted on what is going to be the top action film that we've covered on the previous 64 episodes, which means Jason and I have watched 128 movies. We narrowed it down to a field of 64. You all voted. We're going to have a bracket, single elimination, to find out who the champion is.
33.
That's right, Pat. Your number is 33. If you need more time, I'll tell
Yes.
you.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even start counting it because I didn't know what.
Okay, it's 33. That's fine. I'll tell them what we're doing next week. You start counting.
Yeah, okay.
And next week, Pat and I will be recording some more G.I. Joe episodes. Oh, a fun thing that we have lined up is, I don't know if I should say it because it hasn't happened yet. We have a G.I. Joe creator interview booked, so we're hoping that all comes out okay. I won't give any more details than that right now, but we're gonna have a cool G.I. Joe creator from the comic book world on an upcoming episode of the G.I. Joes.
Okay, I got it.
That we record next week.
Ooh,
And
this is
we
exciting.
record Longbox Crusade Irregulars, our Jeremy Brett coverage with captivating Kathy Bright herself in the chat. She's going to be leading that next week on Thursday. Not this coming week, but next week. Don't panic, Kathy. That's what's coming up with the LBC crew. And Pat, who won the Patreon? Let me get the Patreon banner going across the bottom of the screen in case someone wants to join. Who won that?
Well, Jarrett, I'll tell you who won this. And anybody could win this too. You just got to become a Crusader Club member and just go to patreon.com and look up Longbox Crusade. And for as little as $1 a month. Yeah, I know. I'm going to say this again. $1 a month will get you all of the access.
All the access.
Yeah. You know how much access that is?
75%?
No.
80. Is it 80%, Pat?
Delvin, you're close, but no.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't get any access. So I don't know if everybody's looking at me.
Well, you can get all the access, and it's 100% access and then some. Just go to patreon.com for $1 a month and get you all the access. And you know what? Even if you just want to kind of hang out with us and be part of liking something, you can go to patreon.com and you can sign up for free as well too. We may be starting to push a little stuff out extra to those free subscribers as well. So, but we really liked you if you would come on in. Come on in. The water's warm. You know, dip your toe in with us.
First taste is free.
Cool. Yeah. Come on. First taste is free. Anyway, the
Y'all
big
got that
winner.
Patreon access?
The big winner is Jason Lady.
All right, Jason Lady.
Yay.
Oh, with the win. Jason got excited there. Something's going on.
Oh, yeah. Wait, there's Jason Lady, Jason King.
That's Keen. Unless you double dipped. Did you double dip, Jason? Is Jason Lady real?
Well, we don't know.
Reality.
We don't know what he won, but it's something, and we'll mail it. I'll know when the mailing address comes up whether it's Jason Albrecht masquerading as Jason Lady. But that's it for our giveaways. Thank you, everybody. And I do want to remind, while we're talking about the Crusaders Club and Jason and I's Action Film Face-Off 65, to determine that, we'll talk about it on the show, but everyone got to vote, right? There was a Twitter vote or an X vote and a vote on Patreon. And the Patreon was weighted 50% of the vote. So you could essentially vote two of them and get that heavier weighted. And off the top of my head, I think there was 5 times in the playoff where the Patreon vote made all the difference, including the final matchup. Wow. So it pays to be a Patreon member.
That's all the access.
Deciding who wins the challenge, because it came down to that. I thought that was very exciting. We'll just have to see how deep into the tournament that Action Jackson goes, because that's all I care about.
And I don't know. I haven't seen these, so I'm gonna see if I can guess.
That's gonna be the fun part.
Patreon members.
That's going to be the fun part. All right. Anybody else got anything before we say goodbye to our awesome live stream folks?
Good to go.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
joining
for
us.
another
Yep.
year.
Yeah, and thanks for being here, Alan. And
Yep,
bringing it
my
along.
pleasure as always. Yep.
We love y'all, and we're gonna act froze.